Okay, back to the farm. I wanted to show you some things about my carry gun again and answer some questions. I had some nice customers that had written to me, and they made some statements of how they do things, and they were pretty good folks talking to me about it, and I really greatly appreciate that. This man's name is Mr. Ben Rester. So this video is dedicated to Mr. Ben Rester, one of our nice customers. I'll call him a shooting friend. And Mr. Ben Rester took note of how I was carrying my gun, and I told everybody that I did not like to use appendix carry. Now this is my method of carry. You are welcome to use whatever you would like, but I'll show you why I don't care for appendix carry. So first thing we're going to do, following safety rules, is pull the gun out slowly. Notice my index finger is way up there. I'm going to go ahead and drop that mag very carefully, staying away from the trigger. Mag is dropped out. I'm going to eject the round. I'm going to lock the slide to the rear like that. Do a quick pinky check, visual check, visual check. Make sure the gun is empty. Now, if I was going to do an appendix carry, here's what we're going to do. We're going to allow this slide to go forward. You can see the gun right there. Here goes the slide forward. We're going to dry fire it. So now we know the gun is empty and the striker has been released. So if I was going to appendix carry, this is the only way that I would do it. This is for shooters that have watched this, and I'm hoping that this will help. Now, this holster is a We the People. It's just got 2 barbs, and it is an outside the waistband holster, but I'm using this to simulate. I did not purchase an inside the waistband, but I want you to pretend like we are inside the waistband right here. Now, the reason that if I was going to carry the gun, and I needed to go deep concealed for some reason, that's a big gun, but I needed to go what we always call Mexican style, inside the pants. No offense to a Mexican, a lot of Mexican boys kind of like that, and that's why, you know, it kind of got called that. But going inside the pants or appendix carry, as soon as you put that down inside there, that is a gun that is an empty gun. I did not put the mag in, but I would carry it like that and make it where when I pulled the gun out, I'd have to rack the slide to go into activity with it to fend off any attacks or whatever, and that slows you down. Now, the reason that I would not carry a gun, I would not chamber around, this right now, the chamber is empty. I verified that, chamber's empty. I would not take a fully loaded gun with one in the chamber and shove that down to my pants. Here's the reason why. I'm going to review 2 rules with you that are very important with guns. Number 1, when you see a gun, always assume that gun is loaded. Always treat a gun as if it's loaded. Number 2, this is a big one for me. I watch that muzzle very carefully, which way that muzzle points. Never point the muzzle of the gun in a direction of anything that you are not willing to destroy. That means out in the yard, I'm pointed like that to the Bermuda grass, to the dirt. I don't aim over there at my old Mad Max or Road Warrior 4x4 that has no fenders. I don't do that because I blow a tire off. They're too expensive. I don't aim at my wife's table because that's her table. And now here's the problem. As soon as you take that loaded gun, now I'm simulating here. Understand that. I do not have one in the chamber. But as soon as I take a loaded gun and put it inside my pants and I'm pointing down towards my hot dog, I have just broke rule number 2. Rule number 2 is do not point the gun in any direction towards anything that you do not want to destroy. You've got 2 femoral arteries in this area. You've got a hot dog in that area. You've got your feet right down below that. And you are pointing the muzzle of a loaded gun towards something that you do not want to destroy. So that's one of the major reasons, and I don't care how good your gun is. I don't care if your holster is approved by NASA and NRA and ABC and the U.S. Navy and Navy SEAL. I don't care who the holster is approved by. Don't care who the gun, how many safeties it's got on it. As soon as you take that loaded gun and put it down inside your pants, you're now violating safety rule number 2. Now, one man wrote to me, he said, well, the reason that you don't do that is because you hadn't had no training, see, and you don't have any confidence, see. No, that's not the reason that I don't take the loaded gun and shove it in my pants. The reason I don't is because I have had training. I am fully confident that when I take my gun and put it in my holster, it's going to be in the 1 o'clock position. Now, that is for me. That may not be for you. If you're an appendix carry guy, watch me chamber around. Now I've got it chambered around. Now I checked around in the tube, make sure I got one in the chamber, slowly put it in the holster. I'm fine with it like that. Why? Because rule number 1, treat the gun as if it's loaded. Mine is always loaded when it's on me. I verify that it's loaded. Rule number 2, I'm only going to do 2 rules. Make sure that the gun is always pointed in a safe direction at something that you are not worried about destroying. You don't care if you destroy the Bermuda grass. You might kill a worm, not a big deal. But you notice that that gun is pointed away from my hip. It's got just enough angle with it riding against my belt that it is not pointed at me. If I have an accidental discharge with this gun, it might hit the concrete. It might embarrass me when I'm in Lowe's or in TSC or in Walmart. It might embarrass me. I might have to explain to the police or a store manager or a security guard, hey, I bought a cheap gun, it shot, it dumped all the energy, I got a hollow point, it dumped the energy to the concrete, there's the bullet, there's a few frags here, maybe I, bust a Frito bag or something like that. But I did not blow my dog off, and that's where we're at. Now, for the customers, for my viewers, for my shooting friends that want to carry a gun in the appendix position, just realize of your 4 safety rules, I'm not going to review all of them, we're just doing 2 today. Number 1, treat all guns as if they're loaded. As soon as I treat it like it's loaded, I'm not going to shove it down in my pants. I cannot do that. Number 2, which is the one you're violating by having appendix carry, is never point a gun at anything that you are not willing to destroy. Another way to say that depends on its NRA or Navy, military, whatever. Never point a gun at something that's not your intended target. So if I'm target shooting, I know what my target is. I'm pointing at a bullseye on a piece of paper. I'm pointing at a piece of PVC pipe on the farm. I'm pointing at a concrete block. That's fine for me to point that there. That's fine. But what I do not do, now it's loaded, got one in the chamber, I do not take that loaded gun right there and put that down in my pants. See that? There's something about that. Say, well, you got a special holster, it can't go off. Friend, I'm telling you, the chances of it going off in a very high quality holster, as long as you put it in there properly like that, and your trigger is guarded, the chances of it going off are very, very low. But there's one chance. Maybe it's 1 in 100,000. Maybe it is 1 in 100, maybe it's 1 in 1,000. I don't know what the odds are. It depends on your holster. But I'm telling you, there are people out there. This is where I have a problem. I had a tree fall on me about 4 years ago, 4,000 pounds of tree, smashed my head into the street. When I stood to my feet, I had blood coming out of my nose, my eyes, my ears, and I got severe traumatic brain injury. So we shouldn't have a gun now. I got past all that, but I know that even the most careful person might get their trigger finger on the front of that trigger guard. If you got in a rush with it right there and you're going down inside your holster, your brain, all it has to do is have one spark, one glitch, and you're going to pull that trigger. So I don't feel comfortable enough with that. I just don't. Maybe you worked 2 shifts, night shift, day shift. Maybe you drank some NyQuil. Maybe whatever the reason may be. Maybe you're old. Maybe you had traumatic brain injury. Maybe you've had a stroke. That doesn't mean that you don't have Second Amendment rights anymore, but you've got some cautions that you should take. And for me, my caution is that thing is going to go into a holster where the trigger is guarded. Then and only then do I put it on the outside of my waistband. And for concealed carry, I'll use a lightweight vest and let that vest hang down and block over that gun. Notice I don't stick my hand underneath that muzzle. I'll let that vest droop down and go over that, cover this, pull this around to 1 o'clock where my arm can guard from people trying to draw from the rear. I went to Walmart today. When I was in Walmart, I was at Walmart and at Lowe's, both. The whole time I'm walking, I'm looking out of the corner of this eye, watching this whole area, and make sure nobody comes up there. So how do you block that? Well, one step. It's easy. If I'm here and somebody walks up that side, I walk and I just turn like I'm looking for something. And I look and I make sure nobody is in this area. This little bubble, this little area right here is my safety zone. I don't let somebody come there. And I know a bad guy could target you because you have an open carry. So if you don't like open carry, go ahead and put it on the outside and get you the serape or a nice vest that they make like the Australians wear, totally cut out, light tan, very light thin cotton that just drapes over your body and just long enough to cover that up to where you don't see it. And if you pull that in close enough, even that large, super large, look at this magazine, that thing's huge. I don't know if it'll let me push that or not. Yes, it will. That thing that's an oversized. That's an 18+1. I've got a 15+1 and it's a little shorter. But even with that big magazine, you could put that vest and let it droop over you, and they're free flowing. Your arm would be there, and nobody's going to see anything. Then you go to make your shot. It's just a matter of grabbing the vest, pulling it back, drawing, and you can make your shot and be hot with one in the tube. So thank you for my friends that give me some feedback, even if it's a little bit negative. Even if your opinion and your use of the firearm is different from mine, that's fine. I'm not fussing at anybody. Some of the safety features that I mentioned on my channel are for me. When I say do not point a gun at anything that you're not willing to destroy, I include my hot dog in that description. I don't want my femoral arteries shot, or femoral, however you want to pronounce it. I don't want to blow my large toes off. And I definitely don't want to do any trimming or surgical transmission work on the family jewels. I even have my phone in my pocket. I don't even want it pointed at my phone. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. And be prepared. We've got 15 million visitors that have just crossed the border to come over and say hi. So get your practice in. Be ready. Love your family. Take care of everybody around you that you love. And take care of yourself. Thanks again for watching. Over and out for now.